Welcome to part 5 of Competency 15. In this video, we will work with data skewedness, which is the shape of your data, from Competency 15. Again, using the calculator as much as we can. Okay, before we begin, let's make note of our diagrams. Notice we're using mu for our mean. Okay, we're using that math notation. And note that if we have data that is skewed to the left, then the value of the mean would be less than all the other values. So I like to remember it in this way. I like to think of the mode being opposite to my skewed, my tail. Now, when we go the other direction in comparison, if we are skewed to the right, our tail is on the right, then our mean will be greater. And notice the position of your mean, median, and mode. Okay, this is just something that you need to know. You'll see if you take a practice test or maybe embedded in questioning, this kind of fact will come up. And I've actually seen this come up for semester exams for students. And even this is introduced at the middle school level. So, regardless, this is a basic that we need to know. Of course, at the university, I've seen this, and professors just expect you to know it. Like, hey, it may be 15 years since someone actually showed this to you, but you need to remember this. Okay. So, as an educator, definitely we need to know it. Okay. So, let's look at number 1. All right. So what is the mean, median, mode, and distribution of the following data? Okay. Right. Looks like here, let me add some trace elements there. Okay. So let's see here. So distribution is the shape. Okay. So we're looking at the shape. Shape is our pictures up here. All right. So to begin, we need to figure out calculate what's the class width there. Well, this class width is 6. Now you may say, wait a second, 22 minus 17 equals 5. That's not how we calculate. You have to calculate every number. So if you take your fingers out and say 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, you get 6. So that's just how you have to calculate it. And that's how I show students. I literally say, guys, you can't just subtract those. You have to catch all numbers in between. You have to get them to understand that, like the histogram is a good way to show them, hey, all the numbers. So that being said, we need to move on and find the middle of all of these. Okay. Well, the middle of the first class, this would be 19.5. Then the next one, you just keep adding your 6. So 25.5. And then we have 31.5. And then 37.5. And then 43.5. Okay. So this gives us something where we can find the mean. But we also have to find the median. And if you've watched other videos, prior videos, you'll know that we have to find the center of our frequency, the very middle value, and go from there. So our total of all our frequencies are 48. We will divide that by 2. That gives us 24. So now we need to find the center of 24. Well, this bottom value here, the last value in our frequency is 20. So we know that to be in the middle, we need 4 here. That means you have 9 here. So our very center value or center fraction that we need to deal with or use is 9 out of 13. Okay? Right, so you may not remember how I did this. I also came over here and I have to, remember I said we're trying to capture everything. So what I need here is 34.5. That is the entire interval. So what is the lower? I need the lower of the interval. So I take that 34.5, okay? Then I add that to my width. I add width to the width times 9 over 13. Put that in my calculator, and that's going to be, oh, okay, just give me a sec. I apologize for this. It's a little testy sometimes. So this will be my median, and we need to find a value for that, okay? So 34.5 plus, do parentheses and 6, and I'm multiplying 9 divided by the 13. I like to close my parentheses, and I push equal, and that is a value, and we round, and I see, now remember, it's not the mean, it's our median. So let's think about this. I can evaluate some things right now. First off, we know that our class mode, the mode class, where we have the most values, will be this last one here. I'm going to highlight that in yellow, okay? Since we know that, we see that this is incorrect and D is not going to work. That gives us A and B. Now, we're looking at our median. Remember, we just calculated the median at 38.65. 38.65. Okay, well, that has to be, we have here. That has to be B. So we're going to say A is not it. We're going to say B. But let's go ahead and calculate the mean. Because if you didn't watch the other videos, you may not know how to do this. Let us go to, we're going to have a list. L1, L2. So that's why I did this, even though technically we could have found the other values and not had to mess with this. But let's go ahead and let's put this in two different lists. Let's see how I have all my stuff populated here. Okay, yeah, we can go ahead and put that in here. So I'm going to go up to L1. Remember, you push clear and then enter. Never use delete during your L1, L2 highlight, okay? Then we clear, enter. All right, let's go back here. And we have 19.5, enter. And then 25.5, enter. 31.5, enter. Make sure I'm doing all of it correctly. 37.5, enter. Remember, we're just adding the width of 6 each time. Okay. And then we have 43.5. Okay, then let's go over and let's enter our frequencies. 2, enter, 4, enter, 9, enter, 13, enter, and 20, and make sure they are even. I got it. Great. Now we go, well, I like to back out because sometimes it adds to your list and then it messes stuff up. So I back out all the way. So let's go stat, go over calc. Okay, let's go to number 1. All right, we already have L1, L2. Remember, we're looking for the mean. Okay, enter again. And there it is, 37.1. Yep, and it is correct. We are correct. Fabulous. Okay, let's go to number 2. Number 2, which graph represents the distribution of the data given in question 1? Okay, I brought down our frequency table from number 1, and here are our ABCD options. All right. So when we calculated number 1, we saw that our mean was less than our median. And notice the median should always be in the center. Okay. And then our mode was greater. It was the greatest. And remember, my way of looking at it was, okay, if your mode is the largest value, then your skewed tail will be on the opposite side. So my mode is on the right, so my skewed tail should be on the left. And that would give us A, okay? Now, let's look at the others, all right? What we're getting is we're getting this shape, okay? Which makes it look like our images that we had. This one is like a symmetric U. That isn't going to work. This one is also symmetric. And this one is skewed the opposite direction. This would be a right skewed. Okay. All right. Now, the reason I brought the frequency table down is that isn't that how our numbers go? If you put these in order, the shape as it gets larger, you would see that shape. So you could just look at your numbers and also figure that out. Number 3, what is the mean, median, mode, and distribution of the following data? Okay, so what I have done is I added an L1 column in our frequency table just to give us some room. And then, of course, our frequency column, that'll be our L2. This is to help us find the mean. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started with that part. Okay. We need these centers. We know that our width of each of these classes is 13. Remember, you have to count all the numbers. Okay. So we have 81. Okay. And then we just add 13 to each of those. So we have 94, then 107, then 120, then 133, then 146. Okay. And also we know that our frequency column is a total of 75. Now, if we divide that by 2, remember we're going to need that also, we have 37.5. Okay. Okay. So we need this number. That helps us calculate the median. The L1 column here, that's going to help us with the mean, okay? All right, so we can do the median first, the middle number. Okay, so we need 37 and a half. Well, this is 23. Okay, so what do we have then? We take our 37.5 minus the 23. And what's that going to give us? Okay. All right, let's just do that real quick. 37.5 minus the 23, 14.5. That means that that's what we need to add on here to get that fraction that we need to calculate the median. Okay, so right in here, I'm just going to do it like this. 14.5. So that tells me I need a fraction of 14.5 over that 19. All right, so our median will be, okay, we take our capturing. Remember, we have to capture, so we need our low of this whole row. So that will be 87.5. That's the row that we're working with, the low of that row. So the low of that class. Okay, so I need 87.5. I'm going to add that to the width of that class, which is 13. And then this will be multiplied to the fraction of the class that we are using, which is 14.5 over the 19. Okay, let's put that in our calculator. Okay, 87.5 plus, I like to use the parentheses, 13 times 14.5. Divide that by 19. Close your parentheses. Now we push enter, and we have a median of 97. We're going to have to do some rounding. 97.42. And is that in our options? Okay. Remember, it's median, not mean. So that's not going to work. That's not going to work. This won't work. Oh, I think I went ahead of myself. Okay, because that's median. So this one won't work. This looks like the only one. Yes. And this is too large. Okay. So we've already narrowed it out. But I'm going to change colors. Now let's look at how it's skewed. Okay, we see here. Actually, I'll erase some things in here. Okay, we see that our mode class is the first row. And that would tell me that if our mode class is on this lesser end right here, that will be to the left. So that tells me that everything is skewed right. That tells me it will look like this, okay? That my mode will be over here. And remember, your skew is opposite of your mode. So skewed right would also check out. This would check out. Now we have to find our mean. Okay, now we can find the mean by pushing our stat and our inner. And we're going to populate all of this L1. Okay, I'm going to go up and highlight and remember clear inner. Okay, so we have 81, enter, 94, enter, 107, and then we have 120, 07, 120, 133, and 146. Okay, then we can pop over. Actually, I can go the other direction, gets me up. Okay, I'm going to clear that out just so I can see it a little better. So now we need to put in our frequency. It's 23, 19, 16, and the 10, 6, and 1. And that looks correct. Okay. All right. So now we need to back out second mode, push that again, arrow over to calc, and we're using one var stat and enter, and it's already populated with our list and our frequency of L2. So go enter, enter, and enter again. And looks like there's our mean. And they, of course, have rounded that value. Excellent. So that means that we have everything correct. And the option we need is D. Okay, now let's go to number 4. Number 4 is pretty simple. It says, which plot is skewed to the right? Well, you might get this kind of question on a practice test, maybe a simple test. I don't see it being on like the state exam, but still, you may need to know it because it may be in the context of a question with a bigger thing that they're asking you, whatever. So what we have here is this one is uniform. And when we're looking at the box plots, you look at the longer whisker generally. So this will be a right skewed. This will be a left skewed. And this will be symmetric. So to answer the question, the value is C. Okay, number 5. A set of data has a mode of 17, a mean of 12, and a mean of 6. What is the distribution shape of the measures given? Okay, so from our image and what we discussed earlier, our two images of how things are skewed to the right, skewed to the left. Okay, and remember I said your mode would be opposite of your skewed tail. So in this situation, we have the mean is 6. Well, 6 is less than 12, and that is less than 17. And 17 is our mode. This tells me that, oh, I can do better than this. So what we get is we get a curvature, we get a tail, and then it's going to look something like this. So you would have mode over here. This would be our 12. And then our mean of our 6 would be like more down here. Anyway, the point is it would be left skewed. Our tail would be on the left, so our option would be B. Notice that we're not using the calculator. Like I said, this is just some things that you need to know. Okay, so here's another one. Number 6 says, a set of data has a mode of 48, a median of 47.72, and a mean of 47.58. What is the distribution shape of the measures given? Okay, now we can put these in order. Okay, I'll do that. So it looks like our mode is going to be the greater value and our mean is higher. Okay, so we have 47.58 is less than 47.72, which of course is less than 48. Now, if you went by this, you'd say, oh, well, your mode is greater, so this is going to be skewed, left again. But make sure that you're looking at all these values. They are very close. Looks like they're close with it within less than 1 digit. All three of these are close to each other. That means that we have symmetry. Okay. All right. As you can see, we could round all of those up. Very logically, they could all round to 48 and be the same. So this will be some kind of a symmetric look to it. So our option is C. Let's look at number 7. A set of data has a mode of 84.5, a median of 97.42, and a mean of 102.4. Okay, now thinking about the last question, these are not close to each other. No, they're not within that close distance, even though they're decimals. So what do we have? We have our mean being the highest and our mode being the lowest. So we have 84.5 being less than 97.42, which is less than 102.4. Okay, so the mode is always on the opposite side of your skewed tail. So we will be skewed to the right. Okay, and this is the last of the video. Don't forget, like us, share us, and please subscribe to keep all these things free. Happy testing!